You're looking good.
Informally today, because two of the good friends are joining. What I want to do is this special edition of the Boxing Council of India. Uh, what we intend to do is that in the recent weeks, we have tried to bring all the major stakeholders in the Indian sporting ecosystem to the same platform. And I do welcome you all on the behalf of Boxing Council of India. And it's a very major platform. And we are discussing uh, with, quite a major issue in the recent week. So, in nutshell, what we can say is that the Boxing Council of India has taken this initiative to bring all the major stakeholders of Indian sports in one platform. And what we intend to do is that we need to analyze the things. Basically, what has happened is that the entire world is going through a pandemic right now, and the period of lockdown has started. So it's a golden opportunity to unlock the Indian sporting ecosystem and let the Indian stakeholders know about the best sporting ecosystem across the globe. And there is
Hey,
no better person than Richard Whelan to
wh-
talk on this because he is the one who has been working in the Indian sports system since last 15 years or more than 10 years. And he knows the best of the industrial practices in USA as well. So today we have Richard Whelan with us. He is very passionate about India. He thinks about India, and basically he wants to bring forth the best of the sporting ecosystem from US with India. And I have personally known Richard as a very passionate person. I've never seen a more passionate speaker than in the recent years. And his love for India, his love for sports, and and his love for excellence, one could say, is unmatchable. So, welcome, Richard. And we should remember that the Boxing Council of India has tried to bring all the stakeholders of the sports ecosystem, which comprise the entrepreneurs, the sponsors. We intend to understand the business of sports today, also the best of the broadcasters in the world. And so, Rick, how is the thing over there?
Thank you. Yeah, you know what? It's so nice to see you. Look fantastic, and thank you for inviting me. I couldn't catch some of the words that you were saying, but I get the general gist of it. The audio for some reason was intermittent. It was on and off, but nonetheless, I know what to discuss and talk about. I'm very happy to be on the show. I thought a lot about some of the topics and the questions and how to progress and move things forward. So I just wanted to give a quick overlay and an overview. The advantage that I have. Can you hear me, Abhishek? Okay. Can you hear me? Is the audio good? Is the audio good at your end, Abhishek? Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
I'm hearing you properly, Rick. There is no
Okay, good.
other problem as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. So, one of the advantages that I have and I can work with is that um, I have an objective viewpoint. I'm very objective. I'm literally seeing India from halfway around the world. I can take a macroscopic view of what's happening in India and why India, I would call, is in a bit of a rut, why it's stuck, why it's not progressing, why should it be that year after year or every 4 years in the Olympic performance is just abysmal. It's terrible performance for the country of India. So much so that sadly, when the Indian contingency marches into the stadium, I would say that it's almost mocked. Like people almost laugh. Here's 300 people, and they're all going to come in no place. It's almost the other countries almost make fun of India at the lack of performance in the Olympics. Hundreds of athletes coming, and none of them go home winners. And so that hurts my feelings. Actually, it's not very kind or not very nice for the athletes to be, in a sense, made fun of. And yet, in the country of India, they're considered honorable because they're in the Olympics. So that's number one, the Olympic viewpoint and how the performance Olympic after Olympic has not improved whatsoever, despite 1.3 billion people. It just has not improved. And when I go to India, I think to myself, I hear what they write in the newspaper. I see what the experts talk about, how this time it's going to be better. We need more. We need to find the talent, better ways to find it, and better nutrition, and all things that really I know won't have an impact. They will not have an impact year over year. over year, it's going to be the same. So you can see very clearly the mistakes that are made in India, very clearly. And I also can see the hesitation and the lack of desire to truly solve the issue. So that's on the amateur side. On the professional side, you had success with the IPL. That's been your first success, is the IPL. The second success, of course, is the professional kabaddi. Now, if you analyze the professional cricket league, the IPL, depending on the side of the ocean you're on, if you're an American analyzing why was it successful, your conclusion will be vastly different than if you're somebody from India, or at least the people I've spoken to from India. The India press and the general populace will tell you that the IPL became popular because of the Bollywood stars, or became popular because it's a religion. Cricket's the religion. Or it became popular because of the Iranis. They put a lot of money into it. Whatever it may be, whatever the case may be. But all of those points are wrong. Wrong. That's not why the IPL became a success, at least from an American standpoint. The reason it became is because you create a concept studied in America. He studied in America. And he studied at Duke University in North Carolina. And he mimicked and emulated the success of one of our professional leagues, the NFL. This is not something I'm making up. This is something he has said in his own words. He copied what the ingredients we utilized in America to make a successful sport, commercially successful, and he mimicked it and he brought it to India and he applied that system, those protocols, to a sport that already had popularity to it. But now, rather than having the national team, only 10 men actually making money, now he cut it and he brought to India concepts that up until now were foreign. He would create logos for cities, Mumbai and Delhi, and the different cities. He created the logos, and he created city versus city competition. That was something that was never done at a professional level before. So there were many ingredients. I'm just only hitting on one or two that made the IPL successful. And definitely was a combination of both. He spiced it up with the Bollywood stars, and he spiced it up having, the national team, some of the players on the national team. So there's some ingredients that, of course, were natural, but many came from the United States of America. The way he used cinema, the way you do replays. There's so many different things that were brought to the table and put out in front of the viewing public. And it became a gigantic, it's one of the fastest growing leagues in the history of the world is your IPL. Now, that paved the way for businessmen in India to say, you know what, maybe there's some money in sports, because prior to IPL, there was no proof that sports is commensurate or equal to making money. Sports was considered in India something that's below a garbage man. If you have a daughter in India and she's going to marry a man, and you ask, well, what does this man do, honey? What does this man do? Is he a mechanical engineer? You go to, oh, sir, daddy, he's a sportsman. Unequivocally, the men in India will tell their daughter, don't marry him. There's no money in sports. It means he's probably not intelligent. It means he'll never make any money. There's no industry for sports in India. That's step one. That's the biggest problem in India. No sports business industry. Now, you have it with the IPL, and now you have it with Pro Kabaddi, which, by the way, again, let me say this to you in a nice way.
Basically,
Fox
it's audible right now.
Was a man, two men here from America, who said, cut the game.
Your voice is cracking.
And hello, sorry, we had a lot of interference there. You had.
If we can fix it up again, we are talking very passionately as usual. But the Indian audience is not getting you right now. Your voice is cracking.
Yeah, we have real bad connection. Let me get some better connection. I'll call back.
Rick, I'm getting you. Let's try to finish the meeting. Rick, are you getting me?
Okay, Abhishek, can you hear me? Okay, yes, I can hear you now. Are you okay? You can hear?
Now it's fine.
Okay,
Let's
let me
resume our discussion now. Rick, basically, I want to ask 2 or 3 questions to you. What we intend to understand is that the Indian ecosystem, US ecosystem are 2 poles apart. As far as let's be very realistic about the entire thing. But, and it's an important but, we are the 2 of the most natural democracies of the entire world. 2 of the most interconnected countries of the entire world at present. And if we talk about the Indian perception in general, today it's very, very positive about US, and I think it's vice versa. What I need to understand from you is that you have seen the Indian ecosystem like anything else, sports ecosystem in the last 10 years. What are the takeaways which we can learn from the US ecosystem and execute it here?
Okay, very quickly. Number one, the college system, the college system needs to become commercialized. Your university system is not commercialized. It's a big problem. It's intramural. What we call in America, it's intramural. They do not commercialize your university system, and it's a big problem. Let me explain to you very quickly. The U.S. was not commercialized at the university level either until about the 1950s, approximately 1950s. Then what they did was they aggregated the universities. They created a commercial division called the NCAA, and now the NCAA provides billions annually to the university system for sports alone. They give people, let me show you how it works. They give kids who are great in sports a full ride scholarship, food, clothing, education, simply to play sports and get an education. Billions of dollars. The money doesn't come from the government. India is a socialistic sports industry, socialistic, brimming on communism, where you have sports ministers who decide who's going to participate at the national level. You're socialistic, brimming on communism for sports. It's a big problem. It has to be capitalism. Capitalism, meaning not a dime comes from the federal government, not one dime. In fact, in our country, the athletes in sports, because of the system that's set up, provides hundreds of millions of dollars annually to our federal government so they can use it for clean air, for food, education, healthcare. Sports provides money. It doesn't take money from the government. Your sports ministry is a disaster, a total disaster. Your federations are ruining your country. The federations must be abolished. That doesn't mean federations are not good, better than nothing. For example, the boxing federation. It's important today. Certain sports need federations, other sports do not. And those decisions have to be made. But if you go below the federations, whether the federations are good or not, some very good, some very needed, some not needed, some corrupt. Now, But below the surface of the federations is the university system. And the university system right now is run by 3 people. It's called the Association of Indian Universities, AIU. Not a single one of them knows anything about sports. And they run, or more importantly, the business elements of sports. And they run all of your feeder system. 3 people run your entire 1.3 billion people feeder system for sports. It's called the Association of Indian Universities. And if you don't believe me, go look at the organization and see who runs it and ask them what they know. And ask them where they studied. And ask them what they're doing to commercialize sports at the university level. All of our Olympic athletes in America, and we win more medals over the years than anybody. No one's even close to the United States of America in Olympic medals ever. And the way we win them all is with our college athletes at the NCAA. They're the ones who win all the athletes. They're not professional athletes. They win all the medals from the NCAA. Your NCAA is called AIU, and it's an abomination. An abomination. Until that changes, your country will never change. I'm going to say it again to you so you hear it loud and clear here. Until the AIU changes, your country will never succeed in sports because you have here's the few things that are missing. So that's a big statement, Richard. That's a big statement. No, it isn't. Question number 1. Who can tell me what the statistics are for MS Dhoni, for Tendulkar? Do you know the statistics behind them? Yes, you do know the statistics. In fact, statistics define an athlete. Usain Bolt, we all know he's the fastest sprinter ever. Why? Because of his times, his statistics. At college level here in America, I can tell you every single athlete in his statistics, from wrestlers to boxers to volleyball players, basketball players. I can give you a list right now of the 100 top scorers in America at the college level. All the statistics are kept. In India, you couldn't tell me, pardon my language, jack shit about your college athletes. Not a damn thing. You don't have any statistics being kept. Here's my question. How are you to know? I read the newspapers in India with mockery. I laugh. They're like, we need to find the athletes. We're a big country. There's plenty of talent in the woods and in the fields and across the rivers and over the mountains. We just have to find the talent. Here's my question. How are you going to find the talent when you don't have eyeballs? When you don't have statistics, you have no measuring sticks, statistics. That's number 1. Number 2, you have no fans. There's no fans. If I go to a kabaddi tournament at college, your national volleyball national championship will always be SRM versus maybe Kukshetra or SRM versus, you have the North versus the South. It's a big rivalry in India. The people in the North think they're the better athletes, but the reality is the people in the South are better athletes. That's the reality. That's how our numbers are coming out. It's a big rivalry. But nobody films it. Nobody has logos. There's no fan base. Nobody cares. The reason nobody cares is because it's not commercialized. There's no statistics, and nobody covers it. SRM has won. The University of SRM has won your national volleyball tournament 11 of the past 13 years. They have a huge rivalry.
I will come one. I will come one by one to this. We are mixing up too many topics. I want to bring in sociology into this. It's a very basic thing. We should agree to disagree, because US is the oldest democracy of the world. We are the largest democracy of the world. So we need to agree to disagree. What I need to tell you is that I do fully agree you on one point. I strongly believe all the sports federation in the country, like BCCI, needs to capitalize themselves. I totally agree on this count. That's because right now what is going to happen is that we need to understand 2 basic things. Unlike US, in our setup, there are many things to be done. As you know, since the NDA government has come, basically the drive has gone to have bank accounts for everyone, houses for everyone, electricity in each and every village, toilets in each and every village. So basically, we are fighting for the basics right now. US has already evolved. Their basics are sorted right now. So the state can over there can think about the long-term aspect over there. Secondly, what has happened over here is that right now we are in the midst of the pandemic. So what we need to understand is that the hands of the state is going to be stretched for the coming 2-3 years. That we need to understand, because they have much more important issue needs to be sorted. There are health issues. There are many other unemployment issues and all those stuff. So what I need to understand from you is, Rick, is that if the Indian sports needs to go forward from here, so it's just a beginning. What are the basic baby steps that Indian Federation? I do totally agree from you. Indian Federation can't be dependent on government grant to grow themselves. They need to economize. They need to basically be very, very solid as far as economy is concerned. So if we are talking about the Boxing Federation of India, if we are talking about the Wrestling Federation of India, if we are talking about the Badminton Association of India, or even the Kabaddi Federation of India, what are the learnings that we can take from US example, since you know a lot about this, so that we can become a self-sufficient economic bodies?
Okay, Abhishek, I appreciate what you said. Now help me on a few things. Help me. Number one, first baby step is you must film the sports. Now, I recognize there's COVID-19, so right now there's no events. I understand that. But now's the time to plan for when there will be events, because at some point there will be events again. And one of the first challenges is there's never any pre-planning done in India. So now India has a chance to pre-plan for events. For example, Abhishek, if I have you with Mike Tyson, for example, Mike Tyson, he's thinking about coming back into boxing. I was a Mike Tyson fan for years. I loved Mike Tyson. And I watched almost every one of his professional fights. Almost every single one. I went to the one where he bit his ear off, Evander Holyfield. Mike Tyson was a dynamo. Now, he's a younger than I am, but he's about 50 years old. He's an older man. And he's going to come back and box. They are promoting it nonstop in America. Promoting on my phone. I go to click. They film him training. They film him film. Everything is on the telephone. You don't need to, it's called OTT. You don't need national TV anymore. You must film events. You can do it very inexpensively. Every single federation must, mandatory. They have to film the events. Minimum the national title, semifinals, quarterfinals should all be filmed and all be prepped. You have to have commercials, small, teeny tidbits of what happened last year. You have to create, keyword, create the rivalry, create the athlete. You must create the athlete. You have to have somebody talking about this top boxer has been training for 3 years. This is the last 13 events they won. They're going head to head. Here's the reach. Here's the length. Here's the stamina. Here's where they come from. You must create the hype. You must create the rivalry. It has to be created, and it has to be disseminated, broadcast, promulgated. Because what's happening in India is events happen, but they're like a tree falling in the woods. Nobody is there to see it. Nobody knows. The newspapers won't cover. Maybe the radio station will or won't cover. You must have a commercial element to it. So baby step one, it has to be filmed. No footage. And it can be done very inexpensively now. Very inexpensively. All the top boxers should be filmed. All of them. You can have 2 cameras and live stream it. Because the people who like sports will watch. I'll give you a quick example, Abhishek. We filmed the Volleyball Federation National Championship. I don't know. We had millions of viewers with not a single penny of advertising. We simply filmed it, live streamed it, and people were coming. The word was spreading in India. The word was spreading. You can go look at our numbers. It was shocking, actually, especially in the South for volleyball. So number 1 is filming. Number 2, you have to track on your best athletes. To track on your best athletes, you have to know who they are. And the way you know who they are is understanding their statistics. So you've got to have some kind of uniformity. All the people with COVID-19 now, people can still pick up the phone and talk the way we are. We need them to understand that they must keep statistics. If you're a wrestler, and you're 32-0, somebody should know that you're 32-0 when you're fighting another wrestler who's maybe 31-1. He's only lost once. That builds up the hype. It builds up the desirability to watch it. Let me give you an example. Let me give you one example. I've been saying again about SRM University. They're in the South in Chennai. They're the national champs for volleyball. National champs at the college level for 11 of the past 13 years. The rivalry is in the North, Kurukshetra University. Now, I didn't know any of this 3-4 years ago. I learned about it. I came to know. Now, if Kurukshetra plays SRM in the final again, guess who wants to watch it? I want to watch it. And I'm here in America. I want to watch it. It's a rivalry. It was created, it was built, and I want to know who wins. I do want to know. Same as you want to know if the number one boxer, number one ranked middleweight, is fighting the number one ranked boxer from Pakistan at the college level, the championship of college. And Pakistan's playing India. I kind of want to watch it. If they let me know, if somehow, some way I come to know this match is on, and the guy from Pakistan is 32-0, and the guy from India is 32-0, middleweight fighters, guess who's going to watch it? I'm going to watch it. I will watch it. From here in America, I want to watch it. So how can I watch it or come to know or even care if it's not even filmed? I mean, you're asking me for a baby step. Does that baby step help you? Sports didn't become big in America until the 1950s, until they started to put it on radio and film. No film, it doesn't exist. It does not exist.
I do totally agree with you on this, basically, Rick. But I want to start on a very positive note. Basically, when we see India, you know this quite well. India of today, almost 65% of our population is less than 35 years of age. More than 50% of our population is less than 25 years of age. So there is a huge demographic dividend right now that we need to accept, and that's why I'm very, very positive about India, irrespective of all the things. Even this venture of Boxing Council of India, this is a startup venture, and it is started by Kailash, who is hardly 30 years old. And if he can think so much, he can visualize so much. You can understand how incredible country is this. So what we need to discuss right now is that I want to understand from this from your perspective about the entire thing. What are the basics which we intend to do in our school system, in our university system, and I will come to the production and filming later on. But what are the basics which India should do in our school sports system? Because right now what has happened is that we are going to make physical education a compulsory part of the school curriculum.
Right.
I don't think apart from Singapore, anywhere in the world this is happening.
Right.
So what needs to be done at the school level? What needs to be done at the university level? Because Rick, I know you have traveled extensively throughout the country. Right. I don't think even many of the Indians entrepreneurs have traveled so much for sports purpose as you have traveled in the last 10 decades. So right. I need to understand this basic thing.
You're right. Okay, so let me hit on a few points, and then we'll put the points together. Number one is this. You have athletic directors who work at the big universities, and the athletic director has a lot of responsibility on his hands. As an example, the athletic director up at MDU, Maharshi Danan University up in Rohtak, Haryana Rohtak, that is the number one university in your country for developing the top talent in kabaddi. Most of the top kabaddi stars come from MDU. The athletic director there, his name is Dr. Dual. Dr. Dual is his name. Dr. Dual is one of the most underpaid men maybe in your country. What I mean by that is this. He has maybe 600 colleges under his belt, maybe 50 sports that he has to look at. So now you have 500-600 colleges with maybe 50 sports, and you have one man who's juggling paperwork. This volleyball team needs volleyballs. This field hockey team needs field hockey sticks. When I go into this man's office, he has stacks and stacks of paperwork. I have no idea how he does his job, and he's probably paid the equivalency of what a young boy in America makes at McDonald's in 1 week is his annual pay. My point is this: the athletic directors at the universities have got to be subsidized. If you're going to give money out, make sure they're paid more money. That's number one. Number two, there has to be some type of an award given. People play sports because of the competitive nature and to win. They play to win. You don't play to lose. You don't play to... Americans in particular have a philosophy. And the philosophy is very different than the philosophy in India. In India, let me talk about America. The philosophy starting at youth is if you don't win and you come in second place, you're considered the first loser. You're a loser. You lost. You didn't win. So anyone in America who's won silver medals in the Olympics, we consider them chokers, the people who choked. They didn't win. They came in second place. So there's a high value to winning in America, maybe too much so, but there's a high value to winning, and that's why you compete. That is the very reason you compete. Now, I noticed in your country that there is not any sense of competition among the athletic directors of the universities. In other words, nobody even knows that the man at SRM, Mohan Krishnan is his name, is probably one of your country's top coaches. Nobody even knows. Nobody cares. This man makes no money. Nobody cares. Nobody knows. There is no competition or level of awareness given to the people who promote the athletes, who do a great job coaching, people who are dedicated and committed.
Totally agree.
There's no competition. There's no even award. Just simply put an award out. Ask the Times of India to please help you. Give recognition to the coach and athlete of the year in each respective sport. Here's what happens. The other coaches will work harder to win that award. As soon as there's a carrot in front of the horse runs faster. When there's a trophy, the athletes play harder. The level of competition is missing in India. And it's missing for two reasons. Number one, there's no recognition or competition in place. And number two, in America, because there is money in sports, many kids play harder knowing if they don't make it to a certain level, they're going to become losers in life. They won't get a college education. They're never going to make money. So if you go in the inner cities of America, these kids will play basketball day and night as their way out of the slums. It's their only way out. And they play day and night, hoping one day to earn a living. So the ecosystem has got to start. You're asking for baby steps. It has to start. There is not even competition or recognition. Listen again. There is no award given to your top athletic director, number one. So why should he care? Dr. Mohan Krishnan is an unsung hero in your country. Nobody cares, nobody knows, and no one will ever know. And it's sad for him. He has a futile, wasted life. He does it just because he likes to do it. But many people in your industry have told me I wasted my whole life. The man who works in Gujarat, Sony is his name. He worked at Swarnam University, one of your top 3 federal government sports universities. Dr. Sony, his name is Sony. I went there, I met with him. He said to me, I was a top swimmer in my country. I said, can you send me pictures when you won? He was a top gymnast. He said, I don't have any pictures. Nobody knows who I am. Nobody will ever know who I was. I was one of the country's top gymnasts. I said, there's no pictures or no awards or no, he has nothing. I said, are you going to let this happen to the next generation too? Because if you do, why would anyone be into sports? There's no incentive. There's no incentive to compete where you say to yourself, I'd rather die than lose. I'd rather die than lose. Most Americans have this mentality of they'd rather die than lose. They're going to work hours upon hours upon hours because at the end of the rainbow, there's a career and a job. If you're not the top basketball player, you can become the top basketball coach, and the top coaches in America make millions of dollars. Millions. Look up at our college level how much now. Abhishek, one thing I have to spank you on. I'm going to give you a little spanking here, okay? In our country, we're taught winners are winners and losers have excuses, meaning they blame other people. They always have a reason why they lose. Why did you lose? And then they tell you why they lost. If you know boxing, any great boxer will tell you, if I win, it's 100% because of me. If a boxer loses, he lost because he lost. He was a loser. And he'll be the first one to tell you, I should have trained harder. I didn't hit hard enough. I wasn't fast enough. Boxers train with their heart and soul. That's why people love boxing. They love boxing. They want to watch it. It can draw passion in a way no other sport can, boxing. That's a fact. Now, India, I've been hearing it for years, Abhishek. It's a little bit sickening, and let's hope it changes with you after this phone call. Enough bullshit that America, oh, they're a rich country. It's a rich country, and India, a poor country. We don't have the luxuries to do good in sports. That thinking's wrong. That thinking is wrong. It's not right. It's wrong. Number one, it's an excuse. Number two, you've been a society. Let me finish, Abhishek. You've been a society for 5,000 years. You've had a chance to do well in sports. We're only 200-300 years old. We came here off boats, the Pilgrims. We had nothing. We had forests and nothing. We had to create it all. All of it's created. Listen, It's all created, and it's a mindset. I'm told as a little boy, if I want to be successful, I got to start creating. No one's going to give me anything. And so I went to India, and I'm creating the sports industry of India. I'm creating now.
So by this time, it must be very clear, very clear to the Indian viewers how much you know the Indian ecosystem from the micro basis, not from the macro basis, from the micro basis. So thumbs up for this, Rick. Now I want to ask one simple question from you. The Boxing Council of India is starting an initiative wherein we are going to start different series of boxing bouts across the country. As an entrepreneur, what do you suggest to us? Since we are going to take baby steps in the coming months, I want you to suggest us what should be the basic steps which we should be taking in the coming months.
Okay. First thing is this: the athletes themselves. You must start promoting the athletes. You have to find really, truly talented boxers and start to promote. You need to do a little bit of videos, clips, explain to the public who these people are. That's number one. Number two, you have to develop a fan base. So how are you going to get a fan base? I think you should give an opportunity for any college boxer to be able to go pro. And you should start with the colleges and start doing bouts. So you can find out who the top boxers are at the college level. It'll develop awareness of your pro league, of the pro boxing coming up. Number three, boxing is off. I'm telling you, I wish you all the best, because I feel like you could be a catalyst actually for sports in all of India. Boxing is very near and dear to me, because for me, it's the ultimate form of sport. You have to be in the top physical condition. And I think it's something that every single little boy and every single little girl can look to emulate and respect and admire. Usually the top boxer, the one who wins, is usually the one who's the most disciplined, has the most heart, most focus, and everybody can connect. They become, in a sense, a superhero. And so you really have to analyze the two people who are going head to head. You have to talk about their passion and build up the track. You have to build up their reputation, their credibility, how hard they train. So you see the eye of the tiger, in a sense. So each side is rooting for the other side to win. And the one that wins is a very passionate deal to win, to become a national champion in boxing, whether it's at the national level. And then you have to have, because the Indian community understands national competitors more than they do domestic competitors. So somewhere along the line, you've got to reach out hard to find who's the top boxer in Pakistan at that same class, who's the top boxer in maybe Bangladesh and maybe Sri Lanka. You have to have, once he wins at the national level, he's got to play internationally. Somehow, some way, you've got to get ahead of the game and try to work with the other countries to see if they'd be willing to cross, to be able to have the competition. So if someone from Pakistan, you can have the bout in Bangladesh. If it's somebody from Pakistan, you can fly them to Sri Lanka. That is big, and that needs to be advertised from day one, in my opinion. You've got to focus on the rivalry, and the character buildup is everything. Everything. Character buildup and rivalry is absolutely everything. Maybe I'm telling you things you already know, and I think it can be done on the cheap, and I think you need to somehow hook up with, I think, personally, you should tell, and I would do it from my heart, and I mean this sincerely, to help. I think I disappeared. Can you still hear me? Check. Okay. To have national pride, boxing can lead the way. And I think you should talk to our guy, Sonny Bandark, who runs the show there in India for us, and start reaching out to the universities. Lovely professional university up in Jalandhar. Dr. Cole is the athletic director there. He works for me. I pay him money, not a lot, but he works for me. He also works for the university. He works part-time for me. He's done a lot of nice stuff for me to help sports grow. He's very much into boxing, Dr. Cole, very much into boxing. They held boxing bouts at Lovely Professional. If we talk to him and we tell him, hey, tell us what's going on at the university level. Where are the top boxers? Where are they from? What universities? We start to do amateur bouts where we can get one boxer versus another, and we film it. We start to build the reputations. It can feed into the pro side. And I think it can be done on the cheap. It can be done without anybody putting too much time or effort into it. Our group could be the ones that provide the buoyancy, the levity going into the pro league, going into the pro boxing. You really have got to get the word out. And we could do a co-joint marketing where we just put your name, we brand your name alongside ours at the college level. And I could show you some of the clips. We have filmed a lot of boxing. We have filmed a lot of it. So I could show you some of the clips. And it's not just the men in India. I don't know if you're only doing the men or if you're doing women also. But, you know, women boxing is starting to gain a lot of traction. I mean, I think you're going in the right industry at the right time in the right place, India. I can't tell you how
Very,
much I think
very valuable suggestion, Rick. Basically, I want to extend it a bit. The limitations in our system as well, because you have been working with the Indian system since last at least a decade. How do you think we need to Boxing Council of India needs to monetize the entire thing? Because monetization is very important. Because the more money will come in, the more steps can be taken for the entire thing. One thing we can ensure is that the entire structure is going to be very, very transparent. But how the monetization aspects needs to be looked at.
We have to pull in sponsorship money. You've got to get sponsorship money. And I think that the way it happens in America is what you do is you form partnerships very quickly. In other words, let's assume that you say, okay, we're going to work with Sonny Bondarkar. Let's just say you agree, okay, let's follow Rich's advice. We're going to work with his guy in India, and his job is to help promote our boxing, not just promote themselves, promote our boxing. Sonny, any money you can bring in to our pro boxing, we split 50-50. It's 50-50. If somebody comes directly to the boxing federation, we don't get any cut of it. But if we work hand in hand and we work truly as friends, we both want to build, it can happen. If there's no greed and no envy and no jealousy, but true complementary building, which, by the way, has to happen because it ground zero now. So there's nothing to lose to help. It's not like millions of dollars are pouring in and we're going to try to get in our unfair cut. We need to go attract capital sponsors, big sponsors that can come in over time once you have a well-planned event that people are interested in, that people are going to watch. And you're more likely to get sponsors if they know they're sponsoring the top boxer from India versus the top boxer from Pakistan. Now you have a chance to get more big money. That's why I keep saying you've got to get the other countries involved, but only at the top level. The national champion versus the national champion. And more people will train if they know that they can get prize money, actual money, if they win. And the only way they're going to get actual money if they win is if we can pull in sponsors. So it's a tight-knit circle. One is leveraged off the other, is leveraged off the other, is leveraged off the other. And it becomes a circle that goes up and up and up. And you can see that here in America. Each and every year, there's more and more and more and more money in sports, not less. For 70 years now in America, 70 years, our industry has grown because it got started. People like me and like you came together and said, hey, today, no one's giving money to boxing. So how do we get them to give money to boxing? There has to be viewership. There has to be excitement. And for it to be there, you have to create it. No one's going to create it for us. You have to create it. If the best boxer in India right now is competing against the number 2 boxer in all of India, and they compete at Lovely Professional, or you decide they're going to compete in Mumbai, you're going to rent out a big stadium, they're going to compete. Nobody knows about it. It's not even filmed. Nobody cares. I don't understand how anyone's going to sponsor that. You have to have millions of people watching it. Millions, not a million, millions, and they will watch it. People will watch it if they come to know of it. So if you work with our organization, we can do everything. We'll do whatever we can to help you. I'll do whatever I can to help you build sports. That's my honest truth. I think you're in the right place at the right time. I particularly love boxing. I would love to give these kids an opportunity. I think that we could bring in sponsorship money. Won't happen right away. You know, India, it takes time. But over time, definitely we can succeed. You have to have a long-term strategy. It won't happen in one day. For sure it won't. But boxing, in my opinion, is 100 times better than, let's say, field hockey in India. Field hockey does not do well commercially. It never has, probably never will. It's a very slow game. The ball goes out of bounds. An American can tell you why. I would have bet my life that field hockey will never, ever do well, ever. It's not a product that is made for commercialization. Boxing, on the other hand, is a sport that's made for commercialization. UFC MMA, boxing, those are sports that are high dollar sports. If you do it the right way, and it's all about promotion. And if you don't believe me, ask Don King or anyone in America who has promoted any match. It's all about promotion, all about the hype and creating. Keyword, creating the hype. And you need our organization, or an organization like ours that's altruistic, and opportunistic in a sense that they like to complement. We like to work with people. We believe 1 and 1 is 2. So we have all the universities and colleges, 68 of your top universities and colleges that could, universities, not colleges, 68 of your top universities, Maharshi Dana University, University of Punjab, I can give you the whole list, that we can work with the athletic directors right there and form something so that the winner goes pro and has a sponsor behind them. And I have somebody in India who's very, very kind. I don't know what you think about Sonny Bandarkar, Abhishek, but if you would work with him and open your heart to him, he's one of the best men in 10 years I've worked with in India. He's young, but he's damn good.
Many of your suggestions are very, very valuable, Rick, and they will be they are being jotted down by Kailash, who looks after the Boxing Council of India. One very interesting topic which we have often discussed before also, Rick, with you, is about the production system. One very positive, being from the broadcast industry since last 20 years, and you are also very closely related to the broadcast industry. One positive point which has happened during the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, and even before the trend started, was that the cost of production, because of the technology coming in, the cost of the production in sports is coming considerably down. Since earlier it used to be a humongous exercise. So now we can economize. Now we can monetize. So how do you think this is going to be impactful in the coming months as far as production quality is concerned, production values are concerned, and the money which cost of production is concerned?
Okay, very good question. Very good. I'll tell you why. The entire world, the whole world, is going to OTT, over the top, OTT. TV is becoming, in a sense, passe. Okay, still people watch on TV, no doubt about that. However, OTT is the future, and it's happening in front of us, right in front of us. I can send you the numbers, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So, boxing is a perfect sport to use OTT. Lesser the filming. You don't need these big cameras and all this expensive cables. You don't need any of that. And even I was weary. I was a little bit leery. I wasn't sure. I thought, you know what? I don't want to build an inferior product and just put it out there. Will anybody care? Will anybody watch? So we went from filming at very high level, very high quality when we did our tackle football, very expensive, to the least expensive. And our viewership is trackable at the least expensive. Our viewership is absolutely in the millions. And I was quite embarrassed, actually, at the low quality of the filming. I was embarrassed to show the American investors. I kept it quiet, actually. But the viewership numbers, I did not keep quiet. The cost has plummeted. You can film these events for just nothing. And you have millions of viewers. And here's what's better about TV. Here's better. You can see where the people are watching, how long they're watching, and you can prove it that any sponsor is on TV. I was leery. We went through 10 sports, Sony's 10 sports, before it was. And I felt like it was my instincts that were lying about the numbers. I felt like cricket. They lied about they bloated the cricket numbers and deflated all the other numbers. There seemed to be a monopoly going on, but I couldn't discuss this with people in India. The rating system was corrupt, in my opinion. Then they got rid of TAM, and now they use Bark, and all of a sudden, the cricket ratings aren't as big as they purported them to be. And Kabaddi ratings, sure enough, have a relevance. And so the point is the internet, OTT, film over the top filming, gives you exact, precise numbers. Nobody can lie or debate. And people watch boxing, and if we film it at the low end, but you do the snippets at the beginning, you've got to get the hype going. That's more important than the match. Filming the match is Z. That's not A. It's not A to Z. Filming the match is Z. If you only film the match, you made a grave mistake. You wasted your time. You've got to build the hype. A to Z. A, B, C, D. All of that has to be done. It's inexpensive. It builds it up. and you go OTT. And what will happen is the TV networks will come to you over time. You cannot go to them and ask them if they'll give you money, or will you give me money, or will you put a match on? They'll want to put your boxing match on. At first, they're going to want you to pay them money. They won't give you anything. So you have to build up the viewership numbers, and no one can cheat you. Whereas before, TAM could, I'm not saying they did, but they could with lower ratings and lower, because how do we really know who's watching TV? But on the internet, now you have an advantage. Your timing is impeccable. Your timing of what you're doing is impeccable. It couldn't be any better. And I highly, highly recommend you use the filming. It's dirt cheap. And you put it OTT, live stream it. But you've got to do the build-up. So hopefully that will help you, Abhishek. You're totally going the right direction. It would have cost you millions of dollars before. Now it won't. You need to do it.
Now, coming on to one more question, which we have often discussed, Rick, with you. Basically, you understand it quite well. There are two Indias right now. You were talking about earlier about MS Dhoni and the phenomena of MS Dhoni. Basically, India till date, till a few years back, was concentrated on the entire metropolitan, be it the sporting ecosystem, the culture of this country, the cinema of this country, or anything. It was all about Delhi, Mumbai, or few metropolitan cities. But India is more than that, and I believe the second India. We hardly used to talk about India beyond the Vindhyas. That is the southern part of the country. We hardly used to talk about the rest of Maharashtra, even western part of the country, except Mumbai. We hardly used to talk about the northeast, which is such an important critical cog in the entire wheel. So that India is coming up. And I believe if India can become a sporting powerhouse, or can match the best of the sporting country in the world, it is this part of the India which needs to come to the fore. How do you see this dichotomy in the entire country? Was it prevalent in the US sporting system also when it started?
Abhishek, you know what? I'm very, very sorry. I'm trying to hang in there with you, but your mic went out. I could not hear. I know I caught the very beginning, but not the end. You said that there's two Indias, but I didn't. I don't know how you want me to respond.
Rick, I'm coming again. What I'm saying is that there are two Indias. Till 10 years back, whenever we used to talk about India in sports, in cinema, in art, history, culture, it used to be about the metropolitans also. But now the second India is emerging. The India which is beyond the Vindhyas, the southern part of the country. The India which lies in the northeast. The India which lies in the remotest part of the country. The rest of the Maharashtra apart from Mumbai. So that India is coming up. And if India wants to become a sporting powerhouse, the talent has to come from there only. So how do you see this phenomena? Was this existent in US also earlier?
Look, Abhishek, I got the beginning and I got the end, but in the middle, your microphone was so staticky I couldn't hear you. I think what you said was there's two Indias, and I think you're breaking down the metropolitan and also the rural agrarian areas. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's fine. Right, you go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay, and you're saying that it's important to get the involvement of the agrarian areas, the more less city areas. Is that correct? Or are you saying that you need to get the attention of the big cities? I couldn't understand. Abhishek, our connection's not good.
Your voice is inaudible, Rick.
Sir,
there is some connectivity problem.
Sir, I'll hang up and try to call back. I can't hear you anymore. Our connection's no good.
I think there is some connectivity issues right now. So what we need to understand is that the Rick, Richard, as I was introducing before the show, Richard is a very passionate person. He belongs to US and he's from the hinterland in US over there, and he has seen up the system over there also. And he has spent lots of time. He has seen the best of the university sports system in America, and after that he came to India, and he has tried to invest in the university sports system in the country. He has been in the constant touch with all India universities, and he has meticulously worked with the entire system over the years. I have seen I have known Rick since last 2 or 3 years, and he has been very passionate about his country. He has been very passionate about sports, and he has got deep knowledge about this broadcast ecosystem as well. So it was a very fulfilling discussion from three perspectives. As far as Boxing Council of India, he gave a few very pertinent advice as to how the Boxing Council of India can monetize itself, how it should go ahead. He also he had a very pertinent point of view as to about how the sports federation in this country should monetize itself if it wants to come up. And he threw light about the broadcast system, broadcasting, and the way the production qualities has augmented, and the production cost has gone down. So as usual, it was very fascinating to talk to Richard Wellham, and from the on the behalf of Boxing Council of India, I would like to thank him for joining with us. It's midnight in India, but the enthusiasm is very palpable as we are getting questions from the viewers, and they're all thanking Rick for such an insightful conversation and observation in the last 60 minutes. So thank you. In the next episode, as a part of the series, we will bring more guests where we'll be talking about the ecosystem per se. We'll be talking about the sports industry per se, and we will also try to engage different stakeholders. I request you to subscribe to our channel to support us, because we need to engage all stakeholders, and we are trying to. The Boxing Council of India is trying to bring the best in the industry, the best in the broadcast industry, the best in the sponsorship world, the best of the players, the best of the coaches. But we are trying to see that the discussion are very meaningful. Earlier, all the journalists who used to come in the show used to be from the metropolitan town. And what we are trying to do is that we are trying to engage the rest of the India in the entire conversation. We will be also including people from SAI who are working from different parts of the country. So the entire idea is to have a very fruitful discussion. So I would request you all to subscribe to our channel, to support us, and if you support us, we will be able to bring in more stakeholders, and we will be able to reinvigorate the capacity of the sports in the country. So good night, thank you. Jald milenge. Bye.